Arnie Palmy alert. No, seriously, breaking news. We had to log on. I took a lunch break for this.
Yeah.
I don't even know where you are.
I'm at Liz's house. Dude, I hurt my back. This is the worst. I can't walk. I have a cane. This is all real. I swear to God.
We had to log on because this is just what a scene in the SEC over the last 24 hours.
I just assumed that you were exaggerating. Like, I heard that Saban said something last night. I was like, oh, okay, probably like a quote. And then I went to go look up like the quote, see if I need to put together like a quote graphic for social media. And there were a lot of quotes. Just kept going. Yeah. And then you told me you're like, I guess, did you watch it live?
Yeah, I watched it live.
What?
I knew it was going to be fireworks because for listeners that have been listening for a while, as you know, went to Florida State, have a despise for Jimbo at this point. Grateful for what he did at the school, but I have watched a billion Jimbo press conferences, and every time that he's backed into a corner, whether it was the Jameis Winston stuff, whether it was, at one point he was trying to defend the ACC is better than the SEC,
right?
And all this kind of stuff, or their record, in 2014 when it was clear they weren't that good of a team. He does what he did today, which is like he talks really fast, he cuts people off. And I just knew that was coming. I knew he was angry about this because he's already been indignant about what people have said about A&M. Kiffin had gone on the record. But call me crazy, but I was a huge fan of what Saban said last night. He took down, think about this as a Florida State guy. He took down Jimbo Fisher, or he tried to, Deion Sanders about the Travis Hunter thing, and Miami for their NIL,
okay,
so
this all makes sense now. Like, this is like your Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
I thought there was a couple of overreaches from Saban. Like, I don't know if we know for a fact that Travis Hunter was paid, because there was a rumor that went around. Now, I would assume that Saban has more intel than we do, but that was like a Twitter rumor that kind of got squashed, and Deion Sanders said it was. Like, if you're asking me, did the number one player in America go to Jackson State? Anywhere? I would assume
Deion came out about this and went on Twitter. Weird. And I mean, first of all, just misspellings everywhere, but he's not as dumb as you might think. He has always talked about how Jackson State did not pay anybody. He's been very clear to always word it that way. He's never said anything about someone else paying Travis Hunter or anything else.
Right.
Which is kind of, what also Jimbo, in a sense, is saying about A&M. And technically, they're both probably right.
So here's what I don't understand. Because, I feel like if you're going to ask me, I don't even know where to start. I really don't even know where to start.
Let's start. Okay, let's start where Saban was last night. So he was in Birmingham speaking at an event for the World Games. I guess the World Games are coming to Birmingham.
That is something else we should talk about. Oh, dog's here.
That's a whole nother breaking pod. We should talk about the World Games in Birmingham. But he was there with Nate Oates, and I don't know who else. Look, a moderator.
It's like a touchdown club situation, right? Like,
yeah.
So
which is ironic, talking to boosters about NIL.
So, and Jimbo made a comment about that, about passing the hat around. Like, I don't think that I just don't think that Saban is going to be at any point during all of this. If you ask me, do I think Bama ever paid for a player? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think everyone did it. I think there's a reason why Kirby probably has had so much success. Jimbo's had success. I think there's a way to do it. And sure, I think at some point, because everyone was doing it, right? And there's just ways to go, like the Dodge Charger situation. Yeah. Like, everyone throws that out there, but all it is like you get a local dealership to let a kid buy a car for $1 and then have him pay you back 3 to 4 years after he's in the NFL, just delay all the payments. That's how they do all that. At the same time, I don't understand why we're denying everything right now. Like, we are in the clear. No one accused Jimbo Fisher of doing anything wrong, right?
Right.
He said you paid for all your players. Well, you got 8 5-stars. Seems like you probably did.
It ended up being 9 because
my bad. Yeah,
the guy from this class who was the number 1 overall player from the high school that I went to, from Milton.
Yeah,
reclassified and then also went to A&M. So it was 9, and there was 5 D linemen.
Right. And so but you're allowed to do it now. So I don't think anyone cares. So this whole weird, like indignant, like you said, just digging in. I'd never done anything the wrong way. What did he say? I've never cheated. I'm not a cheat. No one said you were. No one said you were at all. Like this is all legal, but this is like part of the problem. The other part of it is like it's weird coming from, I understand the whole thing about Saban and like the glass houses. It's weird talking about this whole money situation from a school based in oil country that gave the only guaranteed contract we have ever seen in full to a head coach.
Right.
That's that guy.
Right. So let's take a step back. Let's get the exact quote from Saban. And I've got it here. He said, he said, I know the consequence is going to be difficult for the people who are spending tons of money to get players, and you've read about them, you know who they are. He says, I mean, we were second in recruiting last year, and A&M was first, and A&M bought every player on their team, made a deal for name, image, likeness. We didn't buy one player. He kind of goes into, he actually doesn't really blame the NCAA because they can't really basically enforce any rule that they even have set up because they get, he basically was saying we should get the government involved at this point to run this because nobody is.
Because they're doing really well. Like they're really good right now, especially.
They really do good at everything, honestly.
Yeah.
He says we have a rule right now that you cannot use name, image, likeness to entice a player to come to your school, but you'll read about it in the paper. I mean, Jackson State paid a guy $1 million last year that was a really good Division I player to come to school there. It was in the paper and they bragged about it. Nobody did anything about it. I mean, there's a guy at Miami there's guys at Miami that are going to play basketball there for $400,000. It's in the newspaper. That guy tells you how he's doing it. So the NCAA can't enforce the rules, but it's not against the law, and that's an issue, and that's a problem. So
maybe let's just say he's wrong about the Jackson State kid.
Right.
The Miami thing is very obvious. I don't understand why, like the level of like venom that came out of Jimbo was the thing that surprised me the most.
He is like this every single time he knows he tries to defend himself in situations where he shouldn't even try to. He shouldn't have had to defend himself there because it's true. They gave a bunch of money to players. I mean,
none of it was illegal.
Right.
None of it was illegal.
Right. So you had Dion come out. He tweeted, this is before Jimbo even talked.
Right.
He said, you best believe I will address that lie Coach Saban told tomorrow. I was awakened by my son. Yep. That sent me an article stating that we paid Travis Hunter $1 million to play at Jackson State. We as a people don't have to pay our people to play with our people. Couple things.
What do you think he means by people?
Couple things.
It's like Jackson State, right? The alumni?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that he probably is implying that like maybe Travis Hunter wanted to, play at a historically black college and we don't have to entice people to do that. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's always about Dion. Let's not get it twisted. First of all, Nick Saban actually never mentioned Travis Hunter. There were multiple D1 athletes that went to.
It was Travis
Jackson
Hunter.
State.
Let's call it what it is.
Right. But yeah. And then Travis Hunter gets in, he starts tweeting about it. He's like, oh, if I got paid $1 million, then why is my mom living in a 3-bedroom house with 5 kids still? And then Dion retweets that and says, I'm not even making $1 million. So they're kind of going off on their own tangent.
Right.
Then you got Kiffin.
Real quick, those Aflac commercials are going to be awkward as shit.
I know. Do you think? Oh. So you got Kiffin. By the way, I don't know if you saw the first reply. It wasn't the first one that came in, but it's got the most likes and retweets for a reason I'll show you in a second.
Okay.
The first reply, Ajay Hall.
God, Jesus. What is happening right now?
The tweet says, yeah, Prime, turn up.
What a time to be alive. This has all the characters. This is like Kiffin, Ajay Hall. Wow. If Dabo chimes in, this is going to be a banner day.
That Dabo over the next 6 months is going to say something very egregious about something. Sure. I'm just going through Lane Kiffin's Twitter timeline here, and he had some amazing memes just leading even up to the Jimbo press conference.
Right.
But then news breaks this morning. So that was last night. news breaks this morning that Jimbo is holding a press conference. And like I said, I knew that
from jump,
shit was about to get real. He starts basically saying it's despicable that we have to sit here at this level of ball and say these things to defend the people of this organization. The kids, Chris, 17-year-old kids and their families. It's amazing.
No one attacked them.
This quote is amazing. There was so many good quotes. It's amazing. Some people think they're God. Go dig into how God did his deal. You may find out about a lot of things you don't want to know. We built him up to be the czar of
actual God.
He's talking about
Saban, or because
Saban.
Jonah living in that whale's belly for a month was kind of weird and messed up. You know what I mean?
True. That's true. But he's talking
in
about
the plague.
Saban.
Okay.
Says we built him up to be the czar of football. Now we're actually talking about real God.
Oh, okay.
Go dig into his past or anybody that's ever coached with him. You can find out anything you want to find out. What he does and how he does it. It's despicable. It really is. So let's start there.
Let's get into that.
This is the narcissist in him that doesn't allow things to happen.
I could definitely say that Saban probably has some level of narcissism in terms of him being like a type A and like wanting to be the best. I don't think he's a narcissist.
Football. Like I think he probably for good reason holds his own opinion probably above anyone else's in college football, given his history.
See, I don't know if that part is true, but I will say that I know he wants to be the best coach. He wants to be the best at everything he does. Right. Like, and this whole thing about dig into his past, this whole thing for me was like where he lost me. And I was shocked that he was doing this openly. And he did like that many times to comment about it, because every single time I was going to say there was a chance to have some subtle snide ass comment, but really it was like most of the time when there wasn't a chance to do it, he just like forced it in. Like every single time he was asked a question, every single time there's an opening. But like, first off, dig into his past, like the places he's been, you're not going to find anything. You would have already found it. You would have absolutely already found it. Also, if you came from his tree, that means we're going to dig into your past and like as well.
Right.
The last part about this, Saban, I remember a story about Will Muschamp in 2003, I think it was 2003, 2007. The morning after they won the national championship at LSU, they had a 7 a.m. meeting. Muschamp rolls in. He's like kind of hungover because he went out and celebrated, probably didn't sleep. Saban rips into him about how they were behind on recruiting. That's the kind of person he is. So, yeah, I'm sure it wasn't a lot of fun to work for him, but I bet you really, really fucking enjoy that salary you got, $75 million over 10 years, and like the pedigree it came with. Just call me crazy. I'm not sure that he got most of his pedigree from Bobby Bowden shuffling his feet out the door at the age of 83.
I actually had a tweet about this that's going semi-viral simply because I think an Alabama reporter retweeted it. But I said Jimbo Fisher thinking he's more like Bobby Bowden than he is Nick Saban is the funniest part about his whole rant.
Yeah. Spot on.
Not only how Bobby was basically past his prime when Jimbo was there, and granted, Jimbo has a long past with the Bowdens. He was on Terry's staff at Auburn, and so I get that part. He was nothing like Bobby Bowden in the fact there's a reason why he's not at Florida State. Every administrator there hated him.
Yeah.
And every head up booster that actually made shit happen hated him. The AD hated him. That was not the story of Bobby Bowden at all. It was the exact opposite. Right. So I love that he tried to throw that in there. Like, oh, like we over here on this side, me and the Bowdens, we do this. You and these Saban people. It's ridiculous.
Right. No, I completely agree. The lengths that he went to was what was most surprising. And like, I don't know, like the name calling and all that kind of stuff. Like that's where I was like most surprised because, and then the fact that Saban tried to call and address this like an adult. And he said, I didn't pick it up. I'm not going to, I'm done. You already fucking 14 years old. Like what? So there's so many things that get taken out of context in this day and age. But in this case, like, I don't think Saban would have said something to attack Jimbo because they're friends. He cares about him. Not anymore.
Yeah. I
wonder
how much of that is overblown too, I think at this point.
Well, I will tell you this, that on October 8th in Tuscaloosa, that is going to be an absolutely we got to get there for that because that is going to be an onslaught.
I've already been on the horn with a dear friend, coworker who's a Bama alum who has season tickets and is on a golf trip that weekend.
Ooh.
And has 4 tickets. So I've already been on the horn trying to flag some down.
What are
Maybe
your biggest
that's our big
takeaways from
trip.
all this, though? Real quick, because I know you got to go.
I think it's insane that look, obviously Saban probably overstepped his boundaries a bit. It comes off as a little bit of
Despicable.
A&M, not despicable, no, but A&M beat you last year. Now you're bitching about them beating you in recruiting. Like maybe take the high road, considering all coaches are doing some level of this.
Right.
I can see that. Doesn't warrant a press conference from Jimbo Fisher, clearly called by him, probably against any PR person that was like, please do
Without a
not
doubt.
do this. He's probably like, set it up, roll the cameras. I'm going to make this. Because the last thing that Saban said, I have the quote. He said, the NCAA can't enforce any rules on this because it's not against the law. And the first thing that Jimbo says is, I can't believe you would accuse me and these 17-year-olds and their families with cheating. That's not what anyone did.
No. I feel like I dated Jimbo Fisher at this point. Just the level of miscommunication and gaslighting that's happening in the story is like, but you're right. Like, and also when somebody goes that far to defend themselves when you don't need to, it's usually a sign they're in the wrong.
We've seen this before.
Yeah. We saw it literally at Florida State on his way out when he was talking. You remember when he canceled the press conference that he walked into, like, was it the week after Florida or the week of Florida? Because somebody asked if he was leaving to go to A&M.
Yeah, it was a call-in show.
Unreal.
Where's the loyalty, Jimbo? That guy stood up.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I also can't believe he went so scorched earth as to basically include anyone that's ever worked for Saban.
Yeah, there's some guys on there probably liked working for him. Yeah, black guy that's always with him, smiling like ear to ear at the end of the games. He's like the nicest dude ever. I think he's like a special teams coach. I'll send you a picture. He's like the nicest. They're like best friends. He's like the nicest guy ever.
I kind of took it to mean like, he basically was like, go ask Kirby what it was like. And like, he's basically like putting everybody else on blast too. Like, go ask them what they think about working for him. Like now they're going to get dragged into this. And dude, his emotions were out of control. Yeah. And that's one thing, Saban, I think, you see some emotion out of him every once in a while, but it's usually the same emotion. Jimbo, you can tell when he's flustered. You can tell in game. You can tell when something's bothering him in the media. Mm-hmm. He does this all the time. He lets his emotions get the best of him. The fact that he called a press conference, and I did see a tweet that Saban's going to be on the Sirius XM radio at 4:30 today.
He's not going to say anything.
I totally expect him to take the high road, and that's what a true leader does. And that's where I think, I just think that's a missing piece for Jimbo when it comes to being the all-around coach. Because let's not forget, outside of having one generational QB, his teams have consistently lost 4 games a year. And I think it's largely to do with him not being able to harness his emotion in game
my dog
and out of game.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I think that you're spot on with everything you said about the way he handled it. There's 2 ways to go about this. Like you said, high road or cage match. Just absolute. Like, let's do it. SummerSlam is coming up. I'm in. Get a tag team partner. I really like it. Really does suck the fact that like he went that far overboard in defending all this kind of stuff. But also part of me does hope that like we just get to the bottom of all the cheating in the past and we can just start telling all the stories. So.
Oh, well, yeah. That's also, I feel like Jimbo broke code there a little bit.
Yeah. The line on this game, by the way, was already released and it was 16.5. You think it'll move?
I have no doubt that all offseason, Saban's going to take the high road, and then he's going to try to put up 70.
Yeah, I really think they'll beat him by 50. They will do everything in their power. I'm dead serious. I'm not going to get into that game from last year.
That handshake is going to be incredible.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I mean, and by the way, they're both over 60 years old, right?
Jimbo's probably not there yet, but he's close. I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, like first off, I didn't say he was 60. All right, like no one here is 60 years old. Anyway, all right.
Despicable. Ridiculous.
Despicable is the main one.
Real bad.
Anyway, yeah. You know what? We'll get to the bottom of this and we'll start interviewing all the unhappy coaches. Probably.
This is why we love college football.
I mean, this isn't why, but yeah, it's something for the offseason.
Why.
All right, that'll be enough for today. We will might touch base about this again tonight. We'll see.
All righty.
We'll double it up.
Woo!